Hi, I'm Monique Samuels, and I'm the founder of Mila Eve Essentials. Mila Eve products are designed with your mind, body, and soul in mind. We are a Black-owned, woman-owned business who specialize in making products that are cruelty-free, pure, and therapeutic. Why try Mila Eve Essentials? Because we eliminate harsh chemicals and only use ingredients with natural elements that provide a variety of wonderful benefits for you and your household. Feel free to give us feedback by hashtagging Mila Eve Essentials on all social media platforms. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, where you can get essential oil recipes, fun product facts, and other important usage information. Nature knows best, and so does Mila Eve.
Hard working every day, not a lazy mom, got no time to play, always on the go, you stuck on the flow, but it's time for the show.
Hey, what's going on? I'm so excited today.
He exists. He exists.
He is not a figment of anybody's imagination. He is here. What's up, Matt?
How you guys doing this morning?
Doing good. I'm over here. I know we were just talking. Chris is over here wanting to take some of the energy that I have. And I need to start rubbing him down with some essential oils because I'm on level 9,000 because I'm using my oils every day. And it's good.
I need you to can I just come outside your house and you'll just spray me with it, and then it'll be like a little drive-by situation. Drive through.
I honestly don't know where the energy comes from other than that. I've been using like the grapefruit and all of the energizing oils, cedarwood and everything. I don't know. I'm just excited.
You've been keeping it a secret because I need some.
I sprayed it on you. I sprayed some on you last night. It's not working on Chris.
I need a bigger dose. I want a whole lot more. You got to give me more.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, we are here to talk about Birth Stories Part 2. The last time we talked about birth stories was in season 1, episode 7. And we shared some details about our birth stories, and we didn't realize how hilarious that episode would be, but it was so amazing. And since then, I've given birth to Chase, who is now 2, and Allie since then has had her second child, Jake, who is almost 2. So it's been a while, but I think we can kind of remember the details. It was a lot that went on, and I'm just excited to hear from Matt.
This one was a lot more boring because we didn't have a double gunshot thing going on like we did with Sam.
Do you remember that?
Remember that one?
Yes, at the hospital.
Hospital she was at.
So for people to know, you have to go back. You have to listen to episode 7, season 1. Allie found the most hood hospital in the DC area. There were gunshots. There were people coming in, with holes in them. We suggested that Allie get a bulletproof vest for her baby next time.
Yeah, this time we were lucky. She got the epidural on time too. So that was why we were late the last time. So she was pretty angry at me and yelling and making noises and stuff. But this time was a lot smoother.
Well, and also okay, so we delivered. Are we getting into this now, or do you want me to jump away?
Let's go right into it.
All right. So we delivered at the same hospital, but it was so funny because it went from the most ridiculous of experiences to the most bougie of experiences. We walked in and they were like, "Would you like your own personal harp player as you're starting to feel the contractions?" I kid you not. And so this woman comes in, she starts playing the harp as I'm just laying there feeling the little, the minor contractions in the beginning.
Oh my God. They must have heard our episode.
That's what I was thinking. They must have heard
it. We were stressed. So the first time we delivered, we lived in the city. So it was much easier to get to the hospital. This time we're trying to get back into the city when we're living in Bethesda during rush hour. I was terrified because all the rumors are, second baby, it just pops right out real quick. which by the way, that didn't quite happen this time. Yeah. But so it was all about, she thought she was feeling contractions. So we drove down quick. They're like, yeah, you're not really ready. We're like, how about you just check us in, please? And they did.
Yeah. So it's funny because like first time around, I feel like you have these expectations and you have this plan in your mind. And then once you see how the delivery process works, I feel like second time around, you're like, look, just get this baby out of me. I don't care what you got to do. I don't care what tools, take the vacuum, take the suction. I don't care what it is. Just get this baby out.
Yes. No, I can agree. And I will chime in and just say, when I was pregnant with Christopher and we were in labor and delivery, I wanted to feel the contractions. I wanted to be natural. I had my birthing ball. I was ready to go. Second delivery with Milani, as soon as I got to the hospital, I said, yep, I ain't got time for that. Go ahead and shut the door off. Yep. Go ahead, stick that muscle in my back and let me lay here and relax. And 4 hours later, she was out on the table. I mean, literally fell out.
Amazing.
Yeah, with Chase, whole different situation. But we'll get into that. But go ahead. Finish.
So, you know, with Sam, they gave me the epidural. Remember, they missed the needle a couple times. So they were like poking my back, whatever. So this time around, they got the epidural in on time and right away. The problem is I ended up having some weird reaction to it where I almost turned into like a drug addict going through withdrawal.
We had some experiences.
It was really bad. Like my teeth started chattering. I was itchy.
Yeah. You're like a fiend up in there.
I was seriously itchy, teeth chattering, freezing, and I couldn't get comfortable. So then they had to try a different medication. And so the drugs on top of the drugs. I mean, I was on a bad trip.
But of course, this was over several hours.
This was over several hours.
We got in at like 3 p.m. and Jake wasn't born till the next morning at like 6 or 7 in the morning. I don't remember, but it was wild. I mean, we have all this fear that he's going to fall right out. And here we are, like just sitting, sleeping. It was the night of the national championship game it was the night that UVA won. So I actually fell asleep and she was going through one of her withdrawal things. So that woke me up and then it was like, oh, good. The game went to overtime. We can watch the end of this thing. So,
and I'm like a drug addict still, like not okay at all. So it turns out what happened with Jake was he was stuck on my side the entire pregnancy. So we've talked about this before that we love going to our chiropractor. So during pregnancy, I go to the chiropractor once a week, but it was just immediate relief. Like I wasn't having long-term relief. So in order to get that long-term relief, the doctor was like, he needs to come out. Like that's the only way that you're going to feel good. So epidural, drugs, pushing, everything, nothing was working. He was stuck on my side for a while. So is this like random woman walking by?
We got the old school nurse. We got that nurse that's been, there for 35 years and has seen it all and knows how to do it all. And she literally came in and just started doing like yoga stretches with her.
She put my legs in a position I have never had before. They were spread open, twisted out, crossed. I was turned to my side. She was doing all this like weird moves to me. And then he just came out. Like it was just
an hour later. It was unbelievable.
I was like, where were you 10 hours ago when I had the itch and I was, teeth chattering? Where were you then? Yeah.
I said, Matt, you should have took notes on some of those stretches.
Yeah, right.
I know. I didn't know I was that flexible. I'm like, okay,
I didn't either.
Right.
You said I didn't either.
Oh my God, that is crazy. And then the baby just came out.
And then he came out. And it's so funny. And I feel like you probably know what I mean. But like first time around, you want to stay at the hospital. You want to be there. Please. I'm scared to leave. I don't want to drive home with him. As soon as Jake came out, I was like, can we go home now? Like, I want to go home. I want to sleep in my bed. I don't want to be here anymore. Like, just get me out of here.
Oh my God. Yeah, I was the same way because the hospital bed is so uncomfortable. People come in every 5 minutes, want to check this and check that, which I appreciate it. But I want to get some sleep.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I remember the difference between Christopher as the first child and then Chase as the last. I remember like wanting to keep Christopher in the room with me instead of sending him to the nursery.
Yep.
Yes.
And Milani and Chase got sent to the nursery. Chris didn't even stay at the hospital with me with Chase. Left me.
Oh, nice. So you actually got a bed then, not that little chair.
Why didn't you stay? I don't know.
I'll be honest, I'm trying to remember all of them, and I can't really remember anything at this point.
You know,
I went home for real.
You went home, and
I sent
remember.
me home.
No, I remember.
Get out.
It's because Christopher and Milani were both like nervous about me. Like Christopher actually cried when it was time for me to go to the hospital to have him. He was very upset and just concerned for his mom. He's like, he felt like something bad was going to happen. And
how old was he when you delivered Chase?
You said what?
How old was he when you delivered Chase?
He was 6.
Oh, so he's like a real person that knows.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was very aware of what was going on, and he was so nervous. And we prayed together. All of us prayed, and I said, "It's going to be okay." And he did not want for both of us to be gone. So my mom was in town, but even with that, he wanted Daddy home. So I think that's why you didn't stay.
Thank God you cleaned that up. You got me looking bad. I couldn't remember why I went home. I didn't even remember I went home. So I'm glad you cleaned that up.
Even when
you're a loving father to the other two.
Yeah.
That's right. It's because you were being a loving father to your other 2 kids.
That's right. I had to hold it down.
He was, but I will say this: when he did stay at the hospital, he was just laying there snoring. And then when the baby would cry, he'd be like, Can you get the baby making noise? I'm looking at him like, what?
He wanted breast milk.
Yeah, we don't have it.
He was out of it. Yeah. Chris was knocked out. I was like, you know what? You don't need to be here if you're going to be snoring.
I remember seeing Matt at one point, like in the corner, like shoving food in his mouth because he was scared to show me because I was going through one of my like drug withdrawals. And I'm like, this is just not fair. Like everything we have to go to. I will tell you though, after we did our birth story episode, and I learned that like the hospital is supposed to provide you food and stuff. And, you know, you should take things from the hospital like diapers and ice packs and mesh underwear. Like I stocked up. I ordered like nobody's business. I'm like, I'll take everything on the menu. I'm going to take all of the, you know, adult diapers that I need.
Yes.
I think I was bringing an empty bag. Right?
Yes, we brought an empty bag this time. I'm like, Yep.
Oh, I love it. No, it's funny too, because the first thing, like I've said, even in the previous episode that we did about birth stories, the first thing I wanted to do as soon as the baby was out, besides make sure the baby's okay, is to eat. It's like I'm ordering everything because you literally, I feel like I'm starving at the end of the pregnancy because the baby's taking up all this space. Every time you eat, it's going right to the baby. And it feels like you're just starving for months. It's so annoying.
And giving birth is just I mean, you're just exhausted. You're putting all this effort and, you know.
I was tired too when we were done.
Please. So like that post meal, I think that like anyone who's listening, who's pregnant, like think about that first meal you want after you deliver. Because I know, I mean, for us, I think you went and got me like
steak and fries
or, you know, like a big sub or a lot of like Thai food. Just get your favorite meal and have it in the back of your mind so your partner knows what to get you.
Oh my gosh. Well, let me tell you my birth story with Chase, which was quite interesting because he was the first baby when I was on the Real Housewives of Potomac. He was the first baby that I ever filmed darn near the whole pregnancy. I was, you know, towards the end, especially full-blown pregnant filming, which was very stressful. Yeah. 3 weeks before I gave birth to Chase, Ali, you remember we both were pregnant. I was full-blown pregnant and we did a whole live show. That was our first live podcast.
Yeah. And we talked beforehand, like what would happen if you went into labor right before the show or during the show. Yes.
Because at that time I had already started dilating. And I still had a month to go, but it ended up being 3 weeks because we ended up getting induced. I was like, this baby got to come out. You are getting evicted today. But I remember being at the live show and it was my last hurrah. It was like I was like, I'm done after this. And Chris had to put me on a cart and push me out on a darn cart and take me to the car because at the end of the show, I literally could not walk. I was completely exhausted. I did way too much to be that far pregnant, but I was still filming and I had to do what I had to do. Then after I had the baby 3 weeks later, here comes the cameras again.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I forgot about that.
Yes, insane. But let's talk about the actual leading up to the birth. We were nervous because Christopher paved the way. He was almost 10 pounds. He was huge. So then we know Milani basically just fell out. Chase was like, he was almost 9 pounds. So we were like, oh my God, if we're all the way in Potomac, our hospital where my doctor of choice is all the way in Virginia. It's like a 30-minute drive, not including traffic. So we were like, what do we do? Then my doctor tells me that he has to go on some work retreat the weekend of my due date. And I said, wait, I'm not going to risk having somebody else in the room and not you. I love my doctor, Dr. Hunter Tashman. He is amazing. I've never had a tear with him, even as big as Christopher was and even Chase. No tears. He has this technique. He got it down to a science. And I was like, you are going to deliver all of my babies. So what do I have to do? So I ended up scheduling to be induced a week before his due date. So we go in right after Thanksgiving. They made me cook. They did not care that I was full-blown pregnant.
Her family made her cook.
I remember you sending videos of you. You had cooked this incredible, huge like Thanksgiving meal, right? It was like so much food, and you were so pregnant. Oh,
we sat down and we prepped everything.
No, y'all didn't prep everything.
Don't pay for it. I did something. I bought the food or something.
This is what he did. This is what him, my mom, and my sister, and everybody else that was in town, my aunt and uncle, everybody was here. I sat my big behind in a chair in the kitchen, and they passed me all the ingredients that I needed so that I could do all of the fixings and prepping, and then they would take it and I tell them, put it in the oven on this temperature. So they were doing all of that. They did not care. So that's why the past 2 Thanksgivings I've taken off.
Me and Andrew, we did the cooking this past.
They cooked this past one, and the year before, I don't even know what we did. All I know is I ain't cooked. I was like, screw y'all. So
for you.
Yeah, so I go in that Monday to get induced, and Chase was just as stubborn then as he is now. Now I get it, looking back on it. So we go in, I'm scheduling like, all right, he's getting evicted today. This homeboy would not enter the birth canal. He would not engage. So I done already started Pitocin. They already done gave me the epidural, and nothing was happening. It was like, he was like, I'm not coming out and you're not going to make me. My doctor at the time where he was like sort of ready, and my doctor was like, all right, let's go ahead and try. So it's been like, I think at this point, it's been like 4 hours, right? My doctor's like, all right, well, I'm just going to reach up in there and see if I can pull him down. I'm like, wait, what?
Okay.
So he does all of that shifting and turning them, and I'm just like laying there. I can't really feel anything because I had the epidural. And then he said, all right, let's wait a little bit and let's see what happens. All of a sudden, I start feeling that pressure. So I'm like, whoa, okay, he must be right there. My doctor comes in and checks. Nope, he wasn't right there. I'm like, why am I feeling this? He said, well, the epidural doesn't block everything. Allie, I felt everything and not trying to come out, right?
Oh, man.
It was just, I couldn't even describe the pain. It was just like, it felt like, you know, you got to take a huge dump, but you just can't get it out, and you're just sitting there and nothing's happening. It was, I can't really put it into words. That's the best I can come up with.
So wait, you felt like the pain, not just the pressure.
Everything.
The epidural, you feel pressure.
I felt pressure and pain, and it probably was wearing off, but I couldn't hit the button because it was basically active labor at that point. I was
right. You can't hit the button when it's time.
Yes, I was fully dilated, so he needed to come out. He just did not want to engage the birth canal. So stubborn. My mom was in the room. My sister was in the room. Obviously, Chris was there. My sister has been wanting to be in the room with me, and she's been missing the births. She'd be on the plane while it's happening. So this time she came in a few days early because we had the induction schedule. So I'm like thinking that my sister's going to be like, come on, she said,
you got this. Yeah.
She was just like stuck. She just sat there. She was supposed to be videotaping, and she's holding the phone, and she's just like, I cannot believe it. She was just so like, I can't believe what I'm.
Where was she standing? Was she standing by her head, or was she standing by the doctor?
She was full view.
I can relate, by the way, because I was not my choice, but kind of had the same position for multiple. I basically delivered both our kids.
That's right. He did. I forgot that part of the story. He helped hold my legs. He did a lot of it. So
I can relate to that face. Some stuff that you can't unsee, and
Oh, crazy. And it took me 2 years to watch my video of me having given birth to Christopher. It took me 2 years. And yeah, so I don't even want to watch that. I think it's like people say, oh, childbirth is so beautiful. Yeah, but it's disgusting. I'm sorry. It's being real ill. Like, I don't want to watch that. I don't want to see that. Like, it's beautiful in a emotional way.
The baby's beautiful. That's about it.
And even when the baby comes out, it's like all dirty and just looking like a little old crumpled old man. So then finally, I'm pushing him. He finally starts coming out. It took me 20 minutes, the same that it did Christopher, but the pushing was it was so much more intense because Chase was not trying to help me at all.
And that is isn't that like so his personality, right? Like
yeah, he's just like that right now. Stubborn.
To the T. Very stubborn, very headstrong. If you want him to do something, you got to darn near force him to. He ain't moving. I mean, it was him to the T. And obviously we didn't know what we were having. We suspected it was a boy. I said, this is a very handsome boy or a very handsome girl. It turns out it's a boy. He comes out with a testicle as big as my fist.
Yeah.
Like, what in the world? The doctors come rushing in the room.
We didn't know what
was happening. All I know is I saw a huge testicle like this. I'm like, what is going on? So they rush in and they're like, we don't know if he has a tumor or if it's a hernia.
God, that's terrifying.
Wow.
He's born. That's the news we're getting.
Well, go figure it out quickly.
Yeah.
I'm like, can y'all figure it out? So they have the doctor come in and he said, if he's able to reduce it, meaning, push it all because they tested, push them all back up, then more than likely it is a hernia. But we still want to just double check and make sure that nothing else is wrong. Doctor comes in, he reduces it. He said, oh yeah, it's a hernia. I'm pretty sure, but we're still going to do some MRI, whatever scans to make sure there's nothing else. So they give me my baby. I'm like, he's just as happy as he want to be. He's so cute and chill and laid back. So then we go from the scare of the hernia to, oh, he possibly has a hip click. His hip is clicking. And that could lead to other issues down the road. So we need to get that checked. I'm like, yo, I can't take any more bad news. Can y'all leave me alone?
Right.
Then, oh, he has jaundice.
Yeah.
What? Why? We've never had any issues with any other births. And Chase was just coming with the most. Then they're checking all of the, his mouth and all of that. Oh, it appears he has a tongue tie. I'm like, you know what? Just let's do all over. Let's just do this over. So he came out with all kind of issues. A nurse came in and she told me, she said, are you breastfeeding? I said, yes. She said, do you have any formula? I said, I did bring some formula because I had to supplement with my other baby. So I figured, let me go ahead and have some with me. She said, give him some formula. And this way, she said, jaundice basically happens when they have, they have poop that they need to get out. They need to keep flushing the system. They need to flush it out. It'll help flush it out fast. So she said, go ahead and give him some formula. So I said, okay, gave him some formula. Next day, his numbers were fine. He was good. Color looked good. He was good. So the tongue tie, found out later, I have a tongue tie. So he had it because of me. They said usually it's hereditary. So,
oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they said just work with him with speech or get it fixed. I'll tell y'all that story in a second about fixing that because we didn't do the fix and I'll tell you why. So yeah, so he ended up, coming out 4:56 p.m. He was 8 pounds, 15 ounces, and he was 21 inches long. And other than all the other issues, he was happy and healthy.
What happened with the hip?
We went and did, what was it, x-ray? They had him do an x-ray. We had to do that 3 weeks after his birth.
Okay.
We had him to get an x-ray and everything was fine. So he was good. So that turned out just well. We were thinking about getting his tongue tie fixed. So I had the appointment scheduled and everything. They were like, oh yeah, they just clipped a piece of skin and then he's good. So I'm like, all right, cool. The night before we were going, something just told me, you know what, research this a little bit. See what other moms have reviewed and thought about this whole procedure. Cause I was just nervous clipping his tongue. I'm like, ugh. So I research it and I find out that some moms said that their baby had to learn how to suckle all over again. There was a mom who had to start feeding her baby with a teaspoon or with a dropper because the baby lost the ability to suck. That's how they develop when they're in the womb. You know, they're very young.
Yeah.
You guys know what tongue tie is, right?
Yeah. And they ought to, you're right, because when they're born, like they just know how to, know how to suck. That's like, right. But there. Wow. So you decided to not do it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they also said that in order for it to be successful after they clip it, you have to keep the wound open. So you can't let it heal. You have to keep massaging it. And because if it heals, it's just going to go right back to the same size that it was. I was like, what in the world? I'm not doing this mess. I called that place the next day. I said, charge me whatever you need to charge me. I'm not coming. I'm canceling my appointment. Chase I work with him even now with his speech to make sure that he properly pronounces things. He's getting so much better, but it's just because of the restriction of his tongue. He just can't say certain things. So when he says fart, he actually says the F-bomb. All the time.
I may use that excuse later too.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He says boat and ship.
He loves boats and he loves ships, but he'd be like, boat ship. I'm like, so yeah, it sounds like he's saying bull. Like, and he says it at the time where that would be the word to say, you know. And I'm like Melania and Christopher, what are y'all doing to Chase? He'd be like, boat ship. I'm like, leave him alone. Yes. But yeah, that's our little caveman. He's amazing. He's funny and he cracks me up.
Then he had to have a hernia surgery, you know, in the end.
Yes.
The
hernia surgery.
I do remember he had one surgery, so I didn't know if it was for the hip, yeah.
The hernia repair. Oh my God. So he was 4 months old and the guy that we found to do the repair is like one of the best in the area. So he was excellent. And he said he's been doing this for years, you know. He said this was probably one of the toughest hernia repairs he's ever seen in his life.
Wow.
Because he said there was so much tissue that built up around his testicle that I hope Chase does not hate me for telling the story. He almost lost one.
Oh, wow.
It was connected to the tissue. So as he's repairing it and pulling out the intestine, his testicle was going with it.
He literally had to shave back and peel everything.
Yes.
Wow.
You know, not skin, but like
the tissue that built up. So it went from a 45-minute surgery to over 2 hours.
Well, which is great for mom and dad in the waiting room.
Oh my God. When I tell you this is the miracle baby, he was my rainbow baby. He was after my miscarriage. And I'm telling you, this little boy is a straight up fighter. I almost lost him when we were 8 weeks pregnant, had to go in bed rest for 6 weeks.
I remember.
So he is, when I tell you he's a fighter, literally a fighter. Like he literally likes to fight.
So he and Jake should hang out there. Right? Those two would just bang into stuff and break everything.
Yeah. Oh, they would have a ball together. Yes. So we got the hernia repaired. Thank God. The recovery was easy. And then things got better after that. He was trying to sit up. He was already sitting up at 4 months. And then he got the hernia surgery at 4.5 months. So he was like literally the next day, he's like trying to sit. I'm like, no strain and no pressure, you know?
Right.
And he's just so strong. He didn't have any issues. Didn't even need any medicine. He was completely fine. Like nothing ever happened after his surgery. He was a lot happier because I think it must have been bothering him and affecting his mood and everything, you know? Yeah. So yeah, thank God he saved his nut. And he has two. He's good.
Not one ball over there.
Yeah.
Now, did they update you guys when you were waiting for that during the surgery? Because that, like, you know, it's just taking a little bit longer. He's fine, or were you just sitting there for 2 hours thinking it was 45 minutes? It
was over an hour, and we kept going to the counter. You remember? Mm-hmm. I kept going up to the counter, like, what is going on? He should have been done. They were checking. We're waiting for an update. Then finally, it was like almost at the end of the 2 hours that they finally gave us an update and told us because they couldn't get the update from the doctor. It's a sterile procedure, so they didn't want back and forth. So they had to wait for the doctor to actually give the update to let us know what was going on. But when I tell you, like, my heart goes out to any parent that has to deal with having a child who has to have constant surgery or anything in the beginning. Oh my God, or any age. That is the scariest feeling. I went back in the room with him when they gave him the gas that puts him to sleep. First of all, he was fighting in 4.5 months old, and they put the thing on him. He snatched the cord out. So all of the gas was like, I'm like, what is that smell? And they were like, oh, that's the gas. I said, oh my God, you're putting that in my baby. No wonder he just pulled it off. He was fighting. He was like, He pulled that thing off, and then I had to like calm him down and then put it on there. And then when he fell out, he was just laying there like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, can y'all close his eyes and do something? It was just so scary to watch your baby just like knock out. Oh, it's so scary. I didn't believe it. They were like, it's okay, Mom. We got it. We got to hurry up and get started because we don't want to keep him under longer than what's necessary. So I was like, okay. So I rushed out. They took such good care of him. So I was very grateful.
Honestly, I'm power to you for going back there. Sam had surgery on he had something removed on his head when I was how many months pregnant?
With Jake.
When I was pregnant with Jake. Yeah, I was pregnant with Jake and like super obviously hormonal, emotional, all the things. And Matt went back there when they had to put him to sleep. And I mean, even seeing him change into the robe, like or the, the duck, whatever it is, the scrubs, I was getting scared and emotional. So I can't imagine being back there with your 4-month-old as they're putting the gas on him.
You're seeing that mask go on. It was different. It was so horrible. But then, I mean, ours was so quick. Like literally, we leave, we get ushered to the waiting room, and not a minute or two later, the doctor came in because it was literally just like snip, snip, out, sew it back together. He's done.
Yeah. So I can't imagine being there for 2 hours waiting for your child.
I couldn't imagine being there with Allie for 2 hours waiting with the child because in those 2 minutes, it was already like, whew.
Yeah, those 2 minutes were really rough.
We had a doctor that was such a smart ass that I kind of was fine with him. He had such dry humor, and he comes back, he comes into the waiting room, and instead of saying, Sam's fine, he starts asking us about Bryce Harper's contract because I was wearing a Nats hat. And so he starts just messing around. So to me, it was like, well, clearly Sam's fine because he was just being a smart ass. I was like,
He's just trying to loosen things up.
Exactly. So I chuckled, and Allie kind of punched him. But
sometimes some of the best doctors have like the worst bedside manner. So I just had to like remind myself that he was a very talented plastic surgeon, but was just, so socially inappropriate.
No, I feel you. I remember when you were going to get the surgery and we were texting and you told me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm praying for him. I remember that. It's never easy when your child has to go under, number one.
Yeah.
And then, I never had to get put under outside of my wisdom teeth or my boob surgery, like when I got my boobs done. So other than that, I'm like, I can't imagine a child having to deal with that. But it's just, thank God for great spouses. That's what I have to say.
Yes.
It just makes it a little easier to navigate when you have somebody that's supporting you and that loves you and your kids, the same. So, oh my God. Now, one thing that I didn't talk about, see, we had a lot of issues with this one. And this is the reason why when people say, oh, you need to have more kids, I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, y'all have no idea. I'm done. The fear of it all. But then also, I had to go back into the hospital 2 days later after giving birth to Chase. I had a fever and I was so dehydrated, I could not retain the water and the food that I was drinking. And I didn't understand why. So I got very overheated, had a fever. First of all, I never get sick. I don't know if I ever had a fever outside of being a kid, like when I was a child. So it was just weird. And my mom, she was here and she was like, you must, because I was like, I think I need to go to the emergency room. And she said, for you to even say that, you must really feel bad.
You could barely even walk.
I couldn't even walk. I felt like just something wasn't right. So I go and they saw what they perceived the spot on my lung. And then my blood count darn near bottomed out. So when I gave birth, I guess I lost a lot of blood and everything else. And I was close to needing a blood transfusion. So, and had no idea. So when they checked my blood levels, they were just like, I said, listen, just give me an IV. I said, I feel very dehydrated. And I mean, I just want people to know when they go to a hospital, when you know what's going on with your body, you need to be very adamant. You have to let the doctor know what you need because they will try to convince you that you're okay. Sometimes, they'll treat you like everybody else when you are an individual. And they kept wanting to give me antibiotics. They kept wanting to give me this, that, or the other. And I said, give me some fluids. My head was pounding in excruciating pain. I don't get headaches. I don't get migraines. It was the worst experience I've ever had. My head felt like it was about to pop. I said, something is not right. Give me some fluids. Finally, after hours of being in the ER, they finally give me an IV. I went to sleep, woke up, and felt light years better. Completely dehydrated. My blood count started increasing. And then my doctor gave me some advice on getting my blood count back to whatever. I can't even remember what it was, but whatever my doctor told me to do, I ended up doing. And then I was able to go home and I started recovering and I was just fine.
So they thought you had a blood clot and everything.
Yeah, they thought I had a blood clot in my lung. Yeah. So, and then they said it's so tiny that it's not something that would be life-threatening, but they were concerned to the point where they kept me overnight. So now I have a newborn at home with 2 other kids. They were already nervous when I went into the hospital to give birth. Now I'm spending the night at the hospital, and Chris ended up staying with me that time. And my mom.
Good job, Chris.
I was scared to leave in that situation. I was worried. Yeah. Like Monique said, she never really gets sick. Yeah. And she just gave birth, and she's like down, like she was down for the count. Yeah. So, because I think I tried to get you to go to the emergency room earlier, and you refused.
I probably did because we were arguing.
Yeah, finally.
We had an argument. I was so irritated with Chris because I'm an emotional mess. I just had a baby and I felt like he wasn't doing enough for me. I'm like, I'm waking up and I gotta feed the baby. I gotta nurse the baby. You snoring. I'm like, you need to wake up and help me. Change the baby diaper, do something. And Chris,
you have to be miserable too if I'm gonna be miserable, damn it.
Thank you. That's what we want.
Yeah. Yes. So we were just arguing and my mom was there and I was just like, you know what? I need to go to the hospital. I said, something isn't right. I just felt so off. And then that just brought us right back together. That fear and worry.
That's so true. Anytime you're terrified like that, it's you get together and you fight it. It really does. I mean,
when you commiserate.
Yeah.
And it just lets you know what really matters. Like it brings it all into perspective. Like, okay, we ain't got time to be arguing about this simple stuff. Let's deal with that later because this is like our life. Like, yeah, you never know what could be on the line. So, crazy. But I don't know. Did y'all have any other interesting stories? Well, I think that was it for me.
So it's funny actually. Like recovery with Sam was, a crime scene in the bathroom for 6 weeks. It was horrible. Recovery with Jake, it was 2 weeks later and I was texting my doctor, can I go for a run? I just felt like I just bounced back. And I really think that working out throughout the pregnancy again helped, but also I'm stubborn and I kind of just wanted to fast forward and just be fine. So, I will tell you though, when we were talking about doing these birth stories again, I was thinking, I'm like, wow, I really forgot. I had to really think about the whole delivery process with Jake and that's how it happens, right? We block out the pregnancy and how hard it is. We block out.
I remember it all.
But we block it out. And then we're like, okay, I debating on having a third, maybe we'll have a third, because I don't remember how hard it is. And miracle of life.
I swear that's the only way it happens because I don't know anybody that remembers when they're 8 months pregnant and then fast forward a year or two and hey, let's do that again on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. Seriously, it's funny too. I it's been a little over 2 years since I had Chase at this point, and I actually told Chris the other day. I said I kind of miss being pregnant.
I was the most miserable person when I was pregnant with Jake. I mean, I just hated the world. I was annoyed at everything. I was exhausted. When you're pregnant and you have kids and your kids want you to play with them and hold them and they want so much from you and you have you're growing a human, it is so draining. It is so hard. And I blocked it out. I'm like, all right, let's do this again. I'm ready.
Well, it didn't help that Jake was really stuck on your ribs.
Yeah,
and you're not a large human. So he was bringing you down. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
We went to, I think we drove to Pennsylvania and she literally brought a yoga mat to lay on the parking lot so she could just sort of stretch out every hour on our way up there. I mean, it was pretty physically draining on you every single time.
It was really hard.
I remember I saw you towards the end. You came in. We record a podcast?
We did.
Full blown pregnant
When we were full. Yes.
Yes, and I felt so bad. I said, I look like she's about to topple over.
Exactly.
My stomach was like, longer than I am, tall. Like it was just, it was hard to stand. Like I did feel like I was just going to fall forward.
I'm like so stubborn. I'm like, you don't need clothes. Just wear my stuff because you're only gonna have it for like 9 months. So I like make her do it. And she looks ridiculous wearing like my big old coats. And
it is so strong. I am wearing men's clothes when I'm pregnant. I already feel disgusting and like a house. And then I'm wearing this massive coat, these massive sweatpants. I'm just like, it's evil. Like that part is actually messed up.
Yeah, probably is.
You came over. That's what it was. You came over and you was like, I'm wearing Matt's coat because there's no point in buying a winter coat.
He wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let me buy a coat.
I appreciate you covering for me though when you're out. You're like, oh, there's no point in doing it. That's my opinion, I swear.
It's my choice to wear this oversized old musty coat. It's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh my God, hilarious. Oh my goodness. So do we have a baby 3 in the works? Or are you thinking about it?
We're thinking about it. Some days we're like, let's do it. And then the next day I'm like, let me take, extra birth control to not have that happen.
It's a thing when you have the other little ones running around. Yeah. It's like the energy decreased every pregnancy. I had so much energy when I was pregnant with Christopher. I literally didn't stop. Like I was nonstop still. I worked out every day. I drove 15 hours from Alabama in Chris's pickup truck because my doctor said, well, you're too far along to fly. So I said, okay, well, I'm getting back to Virginia because we lived in Virginia at the time. I said, so I'll just drive. And I literally drove me, my mom, my dad, my 2 dogs. At the time I had my big dogs. They were Presa Canarios. I had Coach and Blue. And I sat in the back seat with my big old stomach and 1 dog on the right side and 1 dog on the left side. And my dad drove 8 hours and then I drove the rest. No, my dad drove 6 hours and then I drove the rest. I drove 8 hours. But I felt fine. But then like 2 weeks later, I had my baby shower in New Jersey and drove up with my one of my good friends, Jean, drove up with her just fine. On the way back home, I was miserable and it was only a 3-hour drive. I was completely uncomfortable and miserable. And that's when I knew I was like, okay, yeah, I'm at that point now. We got a few minutes left. I'm done. I'm going to be in the house. So yeah, I feel you on that.
It's interesting. Like the oldest is like self-sufficient sort of, right? You can just sort of put him in a corner and as long as you give him something to entertain himself with, he's fine. Yeah. Jake is wait, what does Chase say? I'd like to use one of his words.
Yeah.
He is a terror. So,
we call Chase the caveman.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our daycare provider calls Jake the devil. So
yeah.
Devil.
Yeah. We thought Sam was crazy. And then we've seen Jake has like this just gentle, kind face. And like, we'll literally, I mean, every time I shave, I find new scratches. But so he'll gouge you and then it's like, Jake, be gentle. And then he'll like do this and kiss you. And then like you'll put him down and then he'll just go break something else.
Yeah. You know what actually he did the other day? He first off, he gives hugs and kisses like Matt was saying.
Yeah.
He went into our bar, grabbed a wine glass, looked at me and smashed it on the ground. It reminded me of you know who. I'm like, that is like, are you kidding me?
Well, the difference is he's age appropriate for that behavior.
That is true.
You're behaving like a 2-year-old is accurate, right? So,
exactly. He'll grow out of it because y'all are great parents and y'all will make sure he grows out of it.
That's right.
It's crazy. Chase is the same way because I call him a sour. We have so many nicknames for Chase. He is the Sour Patch Kid. He is the caveman, and he's also Bam Bam.
Bam Bam.
So
yeah, that's
Bam
a good
Bam,
one.
that's good.
Yes, he's Bam Bam. So he will pick up a stick and he just wants to swing it at everything and everybody. He is Sour Patch because 1 minute he's sweet, 5 seconds later he's sour. So he'll do something and he'll be very mean, and I'll be like, Chase, that hurts mommy's feelings, and he'll go, sorry, mom.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And we
have the same child.
We do.
Get them 2 together. They would be
scared. I don't know. What would they do?
Have a helmet and shoulder pads and put them 2 together.
We just together and just videotape the whole time.
Let me ask you this though: if if he would have been number 2, would you have had number 3?
No.
Probably not.
Nope. No.
That's our current conundrum.
See, I don't know. Once they grow out of it, though, because that terrible 2 mark is for real. And it always starts before they're 2.
Right.
It kind of lingers a little bit after. Then all of a sudden they have this moment where they just mature.
Yeah.
So Chase is starting to get to that point. He's starting to, because we have to stay on him about being nice and, don't do that, don't do this. And now he's starting to get it. Once he calms down, you never know. But I think he just acts as if he knows he's supposed to be the baby. He's the one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris said,
just pray for him because Chase is rough.
I pray for us too.
Yeah. Oh, we're done.
Yeah,
oh, definitely.
I think we're done.
No, you don't even have to pray for that. We ain't have no more. But Monique's last pregnancy with Chase was so rough and hard on her. I mean, she really couldn't do much at all. We almost lost Chase, as she told you before, and she was on the couch, and I pretty much waited on her hand and foot. Mm-hmm. She couldn't do anything, and it was terrifying just to see Monique go through it. Her hips was hurting and all of this pain and different stuff. So I really don't want her to go through that again. And I love kids. If we have a oops baby, I'm going to love them and, whatever. But at the end of the day, we ain't planning no more kids. We're done.
He used to have to he would have to cuff my butt when I was going up the steps just so I could have all the weight.
Tough job, man. Tough job.
Good old pregnancy butt. Too.
Oh my goodness.
It's all thick and juicy.
I always, I know I do miss that. I miss my pregnancy. I really do. I thought when we bought this house and we were like, oh, cool, it has an elevator because Chris, his body's like an old man. He's had 13 surgeries.
Yeah, my knee.
Yeah, so I always thought of the elevator as something that only he would need. And oh my God, thank God for it when I was pregnant because I was using that thing like all the time. I was like, I can't go up and down these steps.
No, it
was a mess. Huh?
I said, oh, that's what we need if we're going to get an elevator.
Another house, sure.
An escalator would be fun, actually.
Right.
I'll just install one of those old people chairs on the side that you
Actually, that's a really good idea.
Yes. Oh my goodness. But yeah, no, I definitely, on top of the fact that I was filming while pregnant is, man, that wears you out. It's already stressful. So, it was rough in so many different areas and for so many different reasons.
I'm going to guess you wore incredibly sensible shoes when you were filming too.
I had 4-inch, 5-inch stilettos still.
Yeah.
Even at the podcast, remember?
Yes, I do.
Y'all are crazy with that. You don't get me anything but slippers, all the time.
Yeah. Oh man, Chris did really good this last pregnancy, and I think it's because of all we went through with the different scares, being that we experienced miscarriage and all of those different things. But he was the most hands-on for me with pregnant with Chase, than the other 2 pregnancies with Melania and Christopher. Those other ones, he was actually working. He was coaching football. So I barely saw him. I felt like he was a great, child support check. I didn't see him. I'm like, yo, when you going to be home? When am I going to see you again? He was like working with Coach Saban. So they were like always at work. Yeah. So yeah, it was nice to actually experience a pregnancy where he was there the whole time and then experience having a new baby. And he was very hands-on with Chase because he was home. So that was a new experience. It was very nice. And Chase is daddy's baby. Oh my God. He wakes up. He don't ask for me. Daddy.
I have to come get him all the time.
He wants
crash out. I can't go to the bathroom. Sit in the other room.
Yeah.
I mean, he runs behind me all day long.
He has to have eyes on Chris at all times, where the other 2 are like that with me. So I was happy. I was like, you finally got one that wants you all the time. And I just enjoy it. I just laugh. He'd be like, I'm tired. I'd be like, yeah, you are. Yeah, I know that feeling. So funny. Well, this was a great discussion. Thank you, Matt, so much for coming.
For having me.
Yes, this was incredible. I love the stories. I think if we could give people any tips, just if you do have expectations and you set high expectations, just be reasonable because they don't always go according to plan. Ali, you have any tips?
Yeah, I would say something you said earlier about just listening to your body. And again, don't focus so much on the birth plan as much as what your like, don't be scared of the words Pitocin or induction. Do what is best for you, what is safest for you and the baby to have a healthy delivery at the end of it. You know, that's the goal, is to have your baby come out.
Yes.
Yeah. Get the baby.
Fair point.
Yes, dear. That's my tip.
Give a tip.
Yes, dear.
Give a real tip. Give something for the guys, for the fellas out there.
Well, just support your woman, and definitely help out as much as possible. I think I dropped the ball a little bit with Milani. I really wasn't.
A little bit.
A lot bit with Milani.
We're not gonna go there.
No. I really didn't help out as much as I should have with her, and I regret it. And Monique was hustling and doing everything or whatever. I kind of got a little lazy, but with Chase, I stepped it up or whatever. So definitely, help out. They've been through a lot by giving birth and everything.
Matt, you got any tips?
I don't know. For us, it was always just keeping it in perspective. I mean, when it's just really, really hard at first, and it will be, especially with kid number one, it seems like it's taking forever, but it really isn't. I mean, there are going to be some really long days, but some really fast years, and just sort of, remember that, and you'll get through it.
And I will say something that Matt did that was great, that I recommend, like, the partner in the room with you, he really was motivating to me. Like, he was like, you can do this. Like, when you feel like that last contraction is it, you can't push anymore. Like, he was like, no, like, stop. Don't act like that. Like, you can do this. And also make sure to buy a good meal after, I would say. A good, delicious meal after.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite things that I did for my second and third pregnancy, I made sure I brought my own slippers, and I brought my own bathrobe and
Me too. Yep. And I would say to add to that, this worked for me. I bought a robe that was inexpensive yet comfortable, because I knew I was probably not even going to take it home, to be honest with you. Like, it was probably one that I was going to wear at the hospital. It was going to get who knows what kind of fluids all over it. And I was going to leave it there. Yeah.
I love that, because it just makes you kind of comfortable. You feel like, even though you're not at home, you still feel like you're in your own element, having your own pajamas and all of that type of stuff. It's so nice after you don't have to wear the hospital robe anymore. But yeah, no, those are some tips that just keep you mentally comfortable, as well as physical, as much as possible. So, and I think that's it. I do have a new mommy, new baby bundle available for Mila Eve Essentials, my essential oils website. So anyone who wants to check that out, it is a nice little kit that I put together that makes it a little easier and takes the guesswork out of what oil can you use for your baby that's a newborn, and then what oil can you use for yourself post-pregnancy. I do not have a kit yet for pregnant moms. I'm working on that, because I need to be very careful, because different people react in different ways to essential oils when they're pregnant. So I think the best route was for me to just do a new mommy, new baby bundle. It's the perfect baby shower gift. It is a combination of 4 oils: Roman chamomile, frankincense 10%, lavender, and what's the last one? Hormonal symmetry. So I gave a bunch of different tips for how you can use those oils for the baby, and then also for you. Hormonal symmetry is something that I think is absolutely necessary, because balancing those hormones after giving birth is serious. I mean, your hormones are haywire. Hormonal symmetry is a combination of oils that actually helps to find that balance and helps take the edge off of the mood swings, the ups and downs, and tries to bring your hormones back in balance sooner. So make sure y'all check that out at MilaEveEssentials.com. And as always, we will see you next week or not next week. We're doing podcasts every other week now. So we'll see y'all next time. And make sure you visit notforlazymoms.com. Follow us on YouTube at Not for Lazy Moms. And until then, y'all take care, peace and blessings. And thank you so much, Matt, for joining us again.
Thank you. See you guys.
Take care.